Hey y'all, I was almost late looking at some of the studies that I just came across. I'll tell you about it in just a second. Get this up here. So tonight we're going to be talking about dating, but specifically dating as your body's changing. So I have been a range of sizes. I have been a size 22 at my heaviest, and I've also been a size 4 at my leanest, and right now I'm at about a 12, and I've had some interesting experiences. Now, at the end of the day, I don't think that it really matters as much, and I'm a middle school teacher, and one of the things that I say to the young people is I don't think it really matters as much what other people think about your body. It matters most what you do, because that's what body image is. Hi, Carl J. Star. I'm so glad you're here, by the way, because I was just on Keena's page and I saw that you had commented on hers, and I was so curious to know what guys might think. It's interesting. Hey, Melody, 1913, are you my soror? Hey girl, hey. So yeah, Melody, I was just telling Carl, I'm glad he's here. A lot of times I will shoo the guys away. Hey Keena, so glad you're here. Okay, all right now. But I'm glad, oh, you said that's why I'm here. Because Carl, I've seen both sides. Like you may have just come in, Melody. I was saying this before you guys popped on. I've been a size 22 at my heaviest, and I've been a size 4 at my leanest, and right now I'm at about a 12. And I think the experiences have been different. But I look back and I think, was it the size I was at, or was it the way I was thinking at the time? I'm not sure. I was just looking at these studies to try to see, because sometimes you can't go by these research studies, right, Keena? Because we don't know who they're talking to. They may not be talking about people who look like us, okay? But according to some of these studies, they say that men prefer, overall, for the most part, women who are slimmer. But in times of stress, when the environment might be tough or something like that, it's saying, when things seem uncertain, when there is acute and chronic stress. Now, isn't this interesting? Then men will tend to prefer women who are curvier, women who are heavier, or whatever. I just thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know how true it is, but I am interested in hearing what the guys have to say. And ladies, I'm interested in hearing what you have to say about your experiences of being heavier, being thinner. Have you not really noticed a difference no matter what size you were? How do you feel? What about this, Melody? What about this, Keena? I know you're married now, but how do you guys feel about dating someone who doesn't have like a traditionally sought after or admired body type? Like, would you be open to a Killer Mike type of body, a Ruben Studdard, a Questlove, a DJ Khaled, or a Kevin Hart? Just saying. So if we haven't met before, I'm Queen. I'm the content creator here at Wisdom for Well-Beings, and it's a place for grown women, because there's a difference between being an adult and being grown, okay? We're grown up in here. So what we do is we talk about wisdom, taking our wisdom and applying that to our well-being. When I'm talking about well-being, I'm talking about mind, body, soul. And when I'm talking about wisdom, I'm talking about a deeper level of spiritual insight and clarity that you have to put together with that, because you can't just go by what you're being told, especially as it relates to wellness. So that's why we have people like Keena come on, and then they talk about what their life lessons are, what their experiences are, and then how they apply that to their expertise. So Carl says it's preference. And I've noticed you attract different types of people based on your size, and it's weird. That is true. I'd love to hear more about what you have to say about that. That is true. I'm going to pause right there and bring Keena in because this is about to get good and I don't want to get carried away. Here she comes. I know you know her. I admire and appreciate this one so much. Girl, like we could have just called this girl.
Now wait, I'm girly for two reasons now.
Okay.
The first reason, because I didn't know you was a Delta. Girl, you know I'm an AKA.
Oh, well, you did the best you could.
That just tickled me because we always find each other some kind of way. That's so funny to me. And just, this whole conversation is it's bringing back so many memories. And
I know. I had to take notes. I got two sections. Carl, I got two sections here. I got before, I got after, and then I had to think, what about this in-between stage? So I had to think about the type of people now. And Carl's point to, depending on the size you are, you do seem to attract different types of people.
Absolutely.
It's so interesting. How are you feeling, by the way? How are you doing?
It's been a hard few weeks for me. If you notice, I haven't been posting as much on my page just because just getting on social media has been so draining right now. And, just the stuff that you keep seeing in the news. And I'm really trying to refocus my energy on something else because it's just so much. I mean, it's like, the news, I've never seen the news spill over into my work life so much. Like I've had, my white coworkers call me. And so I work from home. And so my coworkers, they don't even see me on a regular basis, but they reach out to me and call me and ask me questions, ask me how I'm feeling, and, ask me about a situation, basically asking, is this racist? And trying to get my perspective. And it's just I love that they're asking these questions and I love that we're having this conversation, but it's still very hard to make that transition, especially in your professional life, for, to talk about something that you've never talked about before. And, something that's just taboo. You don't talk about race in the workplace. You don't talk about stuff like that. It's a hot topic. So it's been a lot, but.
It is a lot because what's happening is something that we have been with and been holding for a long time. Other people are just now waking up to.
Yeah.
So we are helping, and I'm using that word loosely, but it's almost like we're in a position where we kind of have to help people to be able to hold this thing that we literally have been carrying for centuries. We shouldn't have to, but that's kind of like where it is. I was saying to a friend the other day, when a woman is giving birth, she's not being asked to also cut the cord, to take out the placenta, then to rinse the baby off. All she's got to do is push, because that's enough in and of itself.
Right.
And I feel like we're kind of in this position where we're the ones that have been in labor for centuries. And then now all these people are just like, oh my God, what's happening?
Right.
And we're like, we've been here.
Yeah, we've been
so I can imagine. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. How have you been doing? You look good.
Thank you.
I love those earrings.
Thank you. Found these on Instagram. Africa Boutique, I think is the name of it. So yeah, Black-owned accessory company here. So
I'll have to send you another. She's actually your soror, but I went to college with her. She has she sells jewelry and clothes and stuff. She's really, really stylish. But she sells earrings they're very similar to those. So I'm gonna send you her information.
I love handcrafted earrings.
I like really nice.
Yeah, I like earrings that I know somebody had to make those earrings with their hands, and that they thought about that, and nobody else is wearing the exact same one.
Yes, those are beautiful.
Thank you. And I'm glad that you're here, even with the heaviness and all of that. And my prayer was that this could be a time that actually was kind of light and refreshing, kind of like just a break in the
Yes.
day. And that whoever stumbles across this live or on the replay, hi Mackenzie, and to those of you who came after us on Nevada too, that it would just be like just a refreshing spot for us to like cackle and laugh, but also think about how are we thinking about our bodies. So what we're talking about, y'all, and this is Keena, who just like me has been a range of sizes. We've been overweight, we've been thin, and she has been like bikini figure stage ready.
I've been 0 to 20, girl.
0 to 20. Oh my goodness, I didn't know that.
Yes, I've been as small as a 0, and I was as big as a 20 at my biggest.
Wow. I don't know if I've ever met someone who was a size 0 before.
You know, I never thought I would get that small, but I think
Uh-huh.
I just got into this space where I just went crazy for a minute, and I just kept
Mhm.
going. And it's like sometimes you can just start losing weight and it just keeps falling off. Like you don't even
Yeah.
have to put in a ton of effort. Like once your metabolism gets to where it's supposed to be.
Hmm.
And I was also trying to do I was thinking about doing bikini at the time too. So I had lost a little bit more than I wanted to originally, but yeah, girl, whole 0.
And I have been a 22 and a 4, and now I'm about a 12. But actually, during quarantine, I mean, I have no idea what size I am. I'm just
Me
gonna
either.
give myself a
I
12.
wear I wear leggings every day.
Okay. If I could, I would raise my leg up to you. I got on some camouflage joggers right now. Yeah, it's all elastic waistbands over here.
Yeah.
So Mackenzie said that she did bikini too. So Mackenzie, we're interested in hearing from you about what your experiences have been like, as well as you've seen your body transform in different ways. She's also a fitness professional and things like that. But I've definitely seen some differences. So why don't we just start at the beginning before you experience any type of weight loss? And I don't want to assume that people got a chance to hear that story from last time about what kind of sparked it at first. So
Yeah.
set it up for us with
So
that date.
yeah, so for me, I was in a really long and serious relationship initially. And my weight loss kind of went like high school, small, like maybe like an 8, 10. And I kind of gradually started to increase because I mean, it was almost like a marriage. Like we lived in a small town, we were always at each other's house. So, after about 7 years together, I would say about my second year in college, we broke up. And so for me, like I had noticed, oh my God, like I didn't notice how much weight I had put on until I let him go. And so because I
Mhm.
was so comfortable, like, I was like, oh my God, he don't care, I don't care. And you just get that comfort weight. And so, after we broke up, I realized what I had done to myself. And I was just like mortified. I was like, oh my God, like I'm 213 pounds. And so I'm trying to think about how I got there. And so I thought about all the bad habits that I had developed over time. But, that's
Keena,
what,
were you thinking that your weight had something to do with it? Because you said
no,
I didn't okay.
no, I don't think so. We had a lot of other issues. It didn't have anything to do with my weight. That came later in other, relationships that I had.
Mm.
But, what ended up happening though is my self-esteem took a dive because, guys, and I mean, it's like Carl's my brother. So what he was saying before is like, you
Okay.
do attract different types of people based on where you are in life. And so, I was at a different place in my life, when I met him. I was, a majorette in high school, and I was, I had this cute little shape. And, then I went to college and, I just like, I didn't see him a lot, but I don't think that my weight had anything to do with it. I think it was just other issues that we had. It just the distance was a lot for him and he couldn't really take it. And I actually
Mhm.
broke up with him. Like it wasn't the other way around. But so, you know, the type of people that I think, and what you said really stuck with me, you know, it's what you give off. And, you know, I gave off this insecure, I had this insecure attitude about myself and, you know, the guys that I would date. And so I just kind of fell into this funk where I really didn't want to talk to anybody until I lost weight, because I didn't think that any man could take me seriously at my size. I was like, you know, I'm too fat to date guys right now. And, you know, to my surprise, although I wasn't trying, guys were like naturally gravitating towards me. And, you know, some of them for good reasons, some of them for not, but some of them were gravitating towards me. But what I found is that I could not mentally connect with them the way that I should have been connecting in that relationship aspect, because I was so, you know, my self-esteem was so low. Like, I didn't believe that I deserved to have a guy that looked that good, or I didn't think that I'd be able to hold on to him because I had too much weight on me, and he would be looking at the little young, skinny little thing that's all in the corner at the party. Because, I mean, that's all there is in college. Just beautiful women. And, you know, I was insecure. So
And
so
it plays a big part of it, you know, and we project these things onto other people.
right.
Mackenzie here says, I know now I can craft my body into anything. My boyfriend actually didn't like me small, but it wasn't about him. Like, it took me a long time to get to what she's talking about, but you're so right. I remember
Right.
when I was in college, my boyfriend was gorgeous. They used to call him Baby Tyson. Now, you
Ooh.
young folks don't know who Tyson Beckford
Girl.
is probably, but you talking about beautiful, beautiful chocolate man. And so they would call him Baby Tyson. He was a gorgeous guy. And I was heavy. And in my head, I didn't understand. This sounds so crazy now, but I didn't get why he wanted to be with me. In my head,
Mm-hmm.
something must be wrong with him, because why did he want to be with me? And I would, you know, do stuff to try to make him mad sometimes, like, what do you call it? Like self-sabotage stuff,
Yeah.
almost thinking, is he gonna walk away? Is he gonna leave me? Is he gonna be with, you know,
Mm-hmm.
one of the little AKAs maybe? I'm teasing her because she's an AKA, not a Delta. But and he would just be like, "You're crazy. Do you hear yourself?" But I didn't
You
get
didn't
it.
see it. You don't
I
see it.
didn't see it at all. Now, I'm curious to know, where do you think that came from, where you didn't think that you deserved somebody who looked like that? Because who decided that he was the one
You
that was the
know,
prize and not you?
well, you know, and that, I think that's where, you know, that projection comes off. Like, you know, because I had such strong insecurities about myself. And honestly, I'll just be real. Like, I didn't have a lot of dating experience. Like, I had been with that one guy for a long time. I mean, I didn't do a lot of dating. So it was like, when I finally got out there and I was able to, I was just like, I attracted this guy's attention. And I was just like, you know, and I had a similar experience. So I'm like, whoa, you know, why did he pick me? Like, I'm the big girl at the party. And so to me, it did not register that, you know, I was like a catch. And so, you know, I'm dating this guy and I'm thinking like, oh, you know, I just remember always looking over my shoulder, like, oh, you know, is he cheating on me? Oh, is he gonna do this? Oh, is he gonna do that? And I was always like accusing him of stuff. And so, you know, and he never cheated on me, but I think that my insecurities eventually started to have an effect on our relationship, because I was just so, you know, watchy, like, oh, who you looking at? Why you looking at her? Why you talking to her? Who calling you? You know, like, I turned into that girl that I never wanted to be. And so, you
Mhm.
know, it's just what you put out there. And I'm just like, I'm just glad I'm not that person
I
anymore.
know. And when I was in college, you know, we're taking it back to college because that's when I think that stuff really stood out. Um, but there were no Lizzos around at that time.
Oh
I
no.
wasn't seeing anybody like Lizzo. talking about, you know, feeling good, and looking good with where you are, and all that kind of stuff. Like that really would have helped, I believe.
Right.
I think it would have helped build some confidence, but
Yeah.
it was not there. And I was always comparing myself as well to other folks. And it's
Yep.
interesting because I used to think, and I'm curious to know what people like Christy and Mackenzie and Robbie might think about this, because these are people who, for the most part, have maintained like somewhere, maybe within 10 or so pounds, the same body shape that they've had, for some time. Some people are able to do that. But I discovered that even women who were slim, who were small, they had their own
Hiccups.
insecurities too. I thought it was just me because
No,
I was the big girl, not knowing that the girl that I thought, oh, she's,
she got
look
it
at her
all.
body, look at her clothes, she's got a car already and all that. They had the same
Yep.
issues that we did a
Right.
lot of the times, and we didn't even know.
Right. And everybody battles with that, comparing themselves to other women, and feeling, we're our own worst critics. And so, I think for me, that became more evident like after I became an AKA and I started, being around more women because I don't have sisters. So it was like, so being around so many women, like I never had these conversations with girls before. And so hearing about their insecurities, and like I didn't wear makeup until, I pledged, like, it was just like so many changes that I had
Mm-hmm.
made. And it's just like, now I'm, around all these women and I'm hearing about their vulnerabilities and the things that they've done and the things that they've experienced. And it kind of changed my perspective about myself. But I think, back when I was in college, that was like around like the early to mid 2000s. And, back then it was like everybody needed a body like Beyonce. Like you got to have a small waist and a big butt. So it was like, that was my goal. Like I had to have a tiny waist and a big butt. Like that was my goal. And so I just felt like I had to just go hard with my workouts. I had to look a certain way so that I can get a certain type of man. And,
Wow.
I attracted some of the most, like, I'm going to tell you a story about,
Before you even get to the story, I want to pause right here.
okay.
For those of you who just came, this is Keena of Fit with Keena. She's doing great work with how she's teaching and training her clients to eat mindfully and intuitively and things like that. And she's been a size 0, and she's also been a size 20. I have been a size 22, and I've also been a size 4, been different points in between. And it's so interesting what you said. I thought I needed to be this certain size so I can attract a certain type of man. I just want to pause and do just a quick little thing here in case anybody's mind is playing games with them. Like, more than anything, and Mackenzie said it here, healthy, wholehearted living is the goal, but also you feeling good about who you are and what you see in the mirror matters more than anything, because someone can manipulate your emotions that way. If
Yes.
someone can make you feel bad about yourself by saying something about your body or whatever, I don't mean if there are things you want to change. It's fine if you are a size, 18 and you are looking to be a 12 or an 8 and you just kind of want to get that look or something. Or then that's fine, right? And
Mm-hmm.
if there are things for health, but just because you are heavier, that doesn't mean that something is wrong. What's wrong is the fact that that means that something's wrong. Like this lie that we've been told. There's this book that's in my Amazon cart that's Fear of the Black Body is the name of it. And it talks about, how basically it's about fat phobia, but it's also about how the whole diet culture is this whole thing shaped around trying to get away from what the black body is, a thicker, more voluptuous type body.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to get hung up on that, but the whole point is if you're wanting to lose weight or shape your body is so that you can appeal to someone else or look better for other people, and I see Keena nodding her head too,
Don't do
you're
it.
gonna discover when you get over there that it's not gonna be enough.
Mm-mm.
It'll just be something else. It's like chasing the horizon.
Right.
That
And
ain't it, girl.
and anybody who tells you that you have to change yourself to fit their ideal of what they think is beautiful, you don't need to be with them anyway. Because, I tell you, if it's not one thing, it's going to be another. It's going to be first, it's going to be lose weight. Then it's going to be, oh, you look nice if your nose was smaller. Because we live in a world where cosmetic surgery is more attainable. So, oh, you look real nice if you were maybe a size a C cup or a D cup. Oh, you look real nice if your butt was just a little bit higher. And so then you start trying to go through life making all these changes to try to fit what this person deems as beautiful. You're going to drive yourself crazy trying to do that.
Right. So you said that you decided, okay, I'm gonna try to lose weight. Now, is this before the guy who told you you would be pretty if?
Yeah, this was before that. So
Wow, so this had been going.
yeah,
Okay.
because I was like working out, but I really wasn't losing weight, or at least it was just really slow. And then so after when I dated this guy, he was the guy that I also thought was just he was too fine for me to be my boyfriend. But he was also what they call um I don't know if y'all have this term, but we called it the secret boo thing that dudes do with big girls. So they won't want everybody else to know that they dating you, but between when y'all are alone, y'all are a couple. And so it was that type of relationship. And so for me, I allowed myself to enter into the relationship with this guy, knowing that he did not want to be exclusive with me, not in public anyway. So it was like this secret relationship that we had that nobody could know about. And so I think that added to my insecurities. And then,
Right.
all the while he's telling me, well, you look good if you lost like maybe 20 pounds. And I'm just like, well, that's not very nice. Like, I can't believe you said that. And then we would just kind of go back and forth about it. And so it's just that was what kind of sparked my whole, crazy fit girl weight loss journey, because like I never wanted anybody to be able to have the opportunity to tell me something like that. And it's for me, it was like I was being honest with myself, like all the other secret boo stuff aside. I don't think that he was wrong about me losing weight, because I was like at a dangerous weight. Like I'm only 5'2". So, for me to be over 200 pounds, it's damaging to my health. So for him to tell me that, it hurt my feelings, but it was also like in the back of my mind, like what I really needed to hear, because no guy had like actually come out and say, you need to lose weight because you're too fat. But I think in the back of my mind, I'm like, damn, I don't want nobody to ever be able to say this about me ever again. And so after I broke up with him for disrespecting me,
I'm listening to that thinking,
girl, no, because that was the last
I
straw for
would
me.
be
Like, you're not
hurt.
about
I
to
mean, I hear you.
it's like, I know I'm fat, but you're not about to tell me I'm fat, okay?
Mackenzie, Carolyn, what are you thinking? Like, what would you think? Guy says that, and it may not be fat, it's something else. If you were more, and it's something that in that moment is not something you can do about. Wow.
Yeah, it's a mess. It's like, I'm okay to think these things about myself, but for somebody to tell me that out loud, I'm just like, bro, you got me twisted. Like, we not about to stay in this relationship with you saying stuff like that to me. So
Carolyn said a guy once confessed that I was the first dark-skinned girl he had ever been with.
see, I don't like that either.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I don't
what
even know
can
what to
you
do with
do
that.
in that moment? He wasn't even trying to be funny either.
He thought it was a compliment. That's the problem.
He
He think
needed
it's
to
a
have kept
compliment.
that in his head.
I was
This
looking
is
at her comment, the truth hurts. Yeah, I mean, it's like I think for me, I wouldn't say I was in the right place to receive those words, but I was in the right place. I was in my right mind to step away from him. But I think that I needed to hear those words at the same time because it prompted a journey that changed my life. So, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, although he prompted my journey, he's not what kept me going. So let me be clear about that. You know, and I got like, I have like at least 2 more very interesting stories. You just tell me if you want me to keep going.
Tell them, girl. Tell them.
So, okay. So
and I have my notes too, y'all, about,
listen,
and I said if they tuning in and lurking, y'all just go hear about them.
well, listen, I had dated this one guy. He was actually my coworker. And so, you know, we were kind of seeing, like, we were both kind of on the same page. Like, we didn't really. He don't want nobody to know, obviously, because I'm fat. And so I'm like, okay, well, he's shame. I don't care. I'm just, you know, we just having fun. And so this guy, so once I started losing weight, like we would go probably weeks without seeing each other. Like we would talk to each other, come across each other on our shifts. We would get together for drinks, maybe after work. But, you know, once I had lost like my first like 40 pounds, you know, he started to notice and he was just like, well, I think we should start dating more seriously. And I'm like, oh, and I'm just like, what you mean? And he just like, well, you know, I wanted you when you was big. So, you know, now that you small, it shouldn't matter that, oh yeah. It shouldn't matter that he actually formed his mouth to say that. Like, oh, well, I was with you when you were big. Now, granted, he was
right, like you were doing me a favor.
Yeah, but you're not doing me no favors, bro. And so he's like, yeah, you know, I wanted you when you were big. So, you know, now that you losing weight, you know, you can give me a chance. And I'm just like, no, you know, just because of what you're saying is, you know, it is. That's a form of abuse. And it's just like, you're not going to tell me that now I have, oh, now you could be with me. Now we can.
Yeah, now you're worth it. Now you're worth it. Now you can be out in public.
Yeah,
like,
now you can take me out on dates, and now you be seen with me just because I'm looking a little bit better now. Just like, oh, now I'm suitable for you to take home to meet your parents and all this other kind of stuff. So,
oh my Lord. Nemo said that she hears sometimes exotic beauty. And that's probably one of those things they probably think they're complimenting you, but I'm curious to know what you think because sometimes people say things ignorantly thinking they're complimenting you, but it actually is hurtful and harmful. I used to feel insulted, Nemo, when people would tell me that I was pretty. Now, this may sound strange, and you only would have to have lived it to get where I'm about to come from. But I always felt like it was conditional. You know, like how he said you would look better. Yeah, a fetishized comment. That's what I think that was, Nemo, and Carolyn too. So it's like, I always felt that when people told me that I was pretty, what they were saying was you have a pretty face.
Yeah.
And if you had, you know, a slim body, or if you lost weight or something like that. So pretty would be one of those things that just didn't feel good. But to me, what Carl said is so strong here because it's like a form of mental abuse that would have carried. So like, but what if at the moment, like what if you had his baby and now you got some baby weight? Yeah. Then are we going to have an issue?
Of course we would. We absolutely would.
Mm-hmm. So you were saying that so he's doing that and you're like, I'm good. And so then what?
Oh yeah. So I ended up cutting things off with him because I started to learn more about self-worth. And so, you know, I dated so many bums and people that want to creep. Like I lost count of them, you know, as a bigger girl. And so for me, it was like my heart couldn't take any more of that, like disappointment in people. And so in my mind, well, then I started thinking, oh, well, maybe if I get smaller, I'll meet more genuine people. And so once I finally got to, you know, my goal weight, I was probably about a size 6, I'll say. you know, about the size of what I consider a normal girl. But it did change the type of guys that I attracted, and it also changed how they treated me, surprisingly. So, and every girl that has been big may not have this experience. Like, I know some big girls where guys would wine and dine them all day, but I just feel like when I was younger, guys were not that confident. Like, they were very shallow, and or at least those are the ones that I was attracting, very shallow men. So once I finally got to, you know, my goal weight of what I deemed as normal, you know, I would date guys thinking that they were going to be different, and they weren't. They just were a little bit more handsome and more fit, but they were just as much, a lot of them were just as much jerks as the other ones that I were dating. You know, the only thing that changed is there was no secret to us dating. Like, they wanted to take me out. They wanted their friends to see me. They wanted their family to see me. You know, so it was just more like, I think for me, my confidence boosted because I felt like before it was more of like I was giving them the choice to choose me. But when I got smaller and I got more confident, I felt like I had leeway to choose them. And I was like, well, if I don't like you, I just backed off. Like, I didn't try to force the issue. So it boosted my confidence significantly once I lost weight. But I can't say that the guys got any better. Like, they were.
You know, the thing is that you said that's so key here, your confidence. Because you went from, yes, your body changed, but you went from being super insecure to the fact that you were settling to be in relationships where the men didn't even want to be public with you.
Nope.
To now, you are feeling more confident. And then now that's affecting the way you're interacting with these people. And it just really makes me wonder, can you imagine where we would have been if we had had that confidence at those other sizes? We would have been the Lizzos that we were looking for.
Oh, honey, I would.
You know?
And it's not like I didn't try. Like, I knew Lizzos. I had Lizzos in my life that were just so, like my best friend, she's not quite a Lizzo, but she was like a heavier set girl like I was. And she had so much confidence in, you know, her body and the way she dressed. And I didn't have that same level of confidence. I always wanted to be small. I always wanted to lose weight. And I just wish, I always envied, you know, her confidence because she was just always like so sure of herself, and she just had such high self-esteem. But, you know, I really think it's what you put out there, and it's really about you. It's not necessarily about the guys, because at the end of the day, I think we have to give ourselves more credit with the guys that we choose and the relationships we choose to put ourselves in. We can't always put the ball in their court. Like, I know that they say, well, if the guy who finds a wife finds it's a good thing. That's true. I'm not going against the Bible, but I also believe that as women, we do play a role, and we play a very significant role in the type of men that we attract and the type of men that we keep around.
Yes. I want to read some of these comments because they're so good.
They
That
are.
right there, I was like, when you were speaking, that was one of those moments where I had to think to myself, don't say anything, because I needed you to take that all the way to the end so I can capture that as a soundbite. All right. So Dr. Grant says, I've had men tell me that they wouldn't date me or marry me because my mother was fat. They felt that I would become fat, so they refused to date or marry me. I'm amazed that somebody would even say that. Oh my God. Nemo says, I have weight issues all my life, which impacts relationships. Being very large now isn't helping that, but also, but almost when I was slim, just couldn't feel okay and desirable. On the journey towards confidence building. You're on the right track, Nemo.
Keep it up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the most important part. It's about you loving yourself first. You can't expect for anybody to love you before you have a chance to learn how to love yourself and be by yourself and be happy with yourself.
Nemo, one of the things, and I'll let you read Dirty Mirage's comment after this, if you can find hers. Nemo, one of the things that I did at the very beginning of my weight loss journey, I've lost over 100 pounds, is I made this agreement with myself. And this was the agreement. I would not say anything to myself that I would not say to one of my best friends. So, for example, Carolyn and Nevada are friends of mine in real life. If I would not say to Carolyn or Nevada, "Ooh, girl, you look so fat in that. Why would you wear that? You know people are going to be looking at you. Look at your hair. You don't, like that type of stuff. Or you lost your keys again. You always losing stuff." See, that's why this. And see, you didn't get the job. Yeah, well, did that, all of the rabbit trails, all of the mental gymnastics that we play with ourselves. If you ask the average person, do you love yourself? They're going to say, I love myself. But sometimes the way that we talk about ourselves doesn't line up with that. So, Nima, I would say to kind of start there, kind of start thinking about what you're thinking about yourself. And sometimes it's going to feel like you're doing it all day. Like I would all day be re-languaging because I was so mean to myself. I would say start there, sis.
Same. I can remember even as early as, after I had my son, being so critical about my body. And it's just like, when you really like she said, reprogramming, you have to reprogram your mind. I just gave birth to a life. Like I brought a whole new person into this world.
Like a watermelon came out of your body. Like mothers,
like a whole
is there any mothers on here?
6-pound child came out of my body. And it's like I've been giving myself grief for so long about gaining this weight back. And, even though it is proportioned differently, I've learned to just love the stage that I'm in right now and enjoy it because it's like I'm not going to be able to get these years back. And so I think, we all can learn that as women because like I said, we're our own worst critics. So we have to learn how to love ourselves. We have to take that in and just appreciate where we are. You don't have to wait until summer, you get your summer body to wear a bathing suit. You wear your bathing suit now.
A summer body is your body in its summertime. Okay.
Yes, summer about to get whatever body I give it. So if I'm gonna walk out there, you're gonna see these stretch marks, you're gonna see this cellulite, because guess what? And another thing I think of, my man like it. I ain't trying to hide it from him. He has no problem looking at my body. So why am I trying to hide it from y'all? Y'all ain't nobody.
And I love that he loves it. Because that goes to show, and I know we have some men on tonight. A lot of times I shoo the men away, but I'm happy that they're here because it reminds us that there is someone who will appreciate, love, enjoy, and always want to discover your body the way that it is and even through its different changes.
That's right.
Nevada says, in my experience, when a person really wants to be with me, no aesthetic, let me unpin it, can change that. Mackenzie said, you have to be okay with you, your choices about how you choose to live your life. And I may have mentioned something. Now this is good. And this will bring us back around to this next dating story, because I'm also curious to know the man that you ended up marrying, how was he different than these other jokers as it related to your body? So Mackenzie said, it's okay. Wait, also tough to be okay not dating if you're someone who is super active. Most guys I encounter want me in the house up under them. Interesting. So I know when you, at some point, when you were really going hard, maybe you can speak to that. What was that like for someone like yourself, like Mackenzie, who fitness is so much a part of your lifestyle? It's also part of your livelihood. You are fitness professionals.
I think so for me, I can recall, well, first of all, now I've had to cut back significantly on where I was as far as the level of activity, because obviously I have a family now. I want to experience my family. I don't want to miss out on anything. But back when I was dating and I, used to be very, very active, it was hard to date because guys want to eat. They want to drink, they want to have fun, they want to party. And for me, I was like, that just was not where I was in my life. And like, they would like, they almost get like judgmental. So it's like when you fat, they want you to be skinny, but then when you skinny, they want you to eat. And it's just like, I couldn't wrap my mind around that. I'm like, listen, I'm trying to keep this weight off. Now leave me alone. So it was just like, they always want to go out to eat and they wanted to have drinks. And that just really wasn't my speed at the time. Like, I would go out on occasion, but I would never like force myself to get out and do things that did not fit my lifestyle at the time, because I didn't drink really back then. I stuck to my one cheat meal a week. So, like when I was going out to eat on these dates, I was getting salads. So it was just like, I became this cliche salad ordering girl. And so it just was like, that was my experience. So I didn't, dating wasn't like, I didn't date so I could eat and get meals. And, for me, it was just like my fitness came first for me. And you spend a lot of time in the gym. I mean, I was working out probably 3 hours a day. So, I mean, I was very, very active. And by the time, nighttime rolled around, I was working on my business anyway. So I didn't have time to do a lot of nightlife stuff. I was staying up late trying to, help my clients and post and do all this other stuff.
It's so interesting when you are in that life and then you date someone who's in that life. Because I told myself a couple of summers ago, I am not dating trainers or anybody who's a fitness professional, because just I'm trying to live free, like that's a part of my life, but it's not my whole life. So I have to tell y'all this part. I'm going to try to tell it quick. This story is so crazy. So we go out to eat, me and this trainer guy. And of course, he's an Adonis, his body, and just a beautiful specimen of a guy. Personality, just not quite where I would have liked for it to be. But, hey, let's just see what happens. Okay. So we're at dinner. We're looking at the menus. I kid you not, y'all. This guy says, this is first conversations, right? I don't eat anything that has hooves. I don't even understand this level of conversation. Hooves?
Oh, like a cow. Okay.
Right. Oh, okay. I don't eat anything that has hooves or that chews the cud, he says. See, this is already too much for me. Just order what you go order.
Like, get your salad, bro.
Why you can't just be normal? Okay, so then he's not sure what he's gonna order, and I'm already like, how do I get out of this? And I almost never do dinners because you can't get out fast enough.
No, you can't.
But I did the dinner because we had so many mutual friends. I'm thinking, we have so many friends in common. This has to be
it's gonna work.
Girl, he goes on, just everything was a big deal about what to order because of food and all this kind of stuff. He ends up not ordering any meat because, get ready, he said, because he had some chicken earlier and the menu had like beef on it and it had goat or something like that. He said, I don't like to mix animals.
You know what? I can't with this dude.
Oh my God.
He can't mix animals.
I don't like to. What are the animals playing in your stomach?
Oh my
What are we doing? Girl.
Ooh, that's irritating.
I decided then and there, I can't date trainers if this is what they do. So
I don't remember ever doing that to a guy. I was never that.
Y'all don't do that to nobody.
I didn't do that to nobody. Even when I went through my vegan stage, I didn't do that to nobody. I just ate my food in peace and I just left it alone.
Right. Okay, so how was your husband, your now husband, because she's now married, y'all, and they have a
Take my
beautiful
glasses.
son. Okay, I won't blame the trainers, Mackenzie. But the two I dated, I just, it was too much with the food and with the training. Yeah.
That's funny. They do.
Okay.
We will have you in the gym though. Like, oh, let's go work out in the morning, 6 o'clock.
I can do that, but when you go to talk about hooves and
That's too
you
much. Anything with a face.
right. But how about
you
you?
don't have no face when you eating it, so just enjoy.
Right. Some of them are very annoying. But what was it like though with your now husband? How was he different?
So I think the biggest difference, so let me back up with my husband. So me and my husband, we actually went to college together. Now we did not date in college, and we were acquainted, but we weren't like romantic or anything. And so we passed each other a lot, and so we knew each other. So my friend ended up convincing me to get a Match.com account because I had so many horror stories with all these guys I had been dating. And I had just finally shut down. I told her I didn't want to date anymore. So I got on Match.com, and his profile scrolled across the top. And so I said, that's Alonzo. Like, I know him. And so I clicked it, and I hit him, and I sent him a message. I was like, hey, Fred, how you doing? You know, blah, blah, you know. So we start the conversation. She was like, oh, Keenia, what's up? He was like, here's my number. Give me a call. We should link up. So we got together on some really strictly platonic stuff. Like, we weren't trying to date each other. As a matter of fact, I remember trying to set him up with some of my friends. And so then what ended up happening was we became really good friends. Like, we would go out together and we would just have a good time. We were not dating. We weren't kissing. We weren't doing anything. And so I remember one day, and what changed for me was one day we went out probably for like fifth or sixth time, and we went bowling together. And I didn't bring socks, and he brought some socks for me. And so for me, like, I think that day it clicked in my head, like, I think there might be something here. And I was just like, and I mean, not wanting to jump the gun, I didn't, overthink it. I'm like, well, maybe he just, we're just friends, but I really like where this is going. And he was just always very considerate, very thoughtful. He was not too aggressive with me, and he was just always a perfect gentleman. And so, like, I would like help him buy furniture for his house. And, like, for me, it was just kind of like, we were like a married couple, but we weren't married. It was so weird. And then I remember my brother, and he's on here, so he probably can vouch for this. I was talking to him after I had went to visit my family over on the East Coast. We had all got together for the holidays, and he was back at home. And I think he was like buying something for his house. And I remember, being on the phone with him for like a long time, and we were just chatting. My brother was like, who are you talking to? I'm like, oh, this is my friend Alonzo. He was like, y'all getting married. And I was like, why you say that? And he was just like, he's like, because you don't talk to nobody about stuff like that unless you really like them. And I was like, no, it's not like that. We're just friends. And, so when I came home, he like sat me down, and he was like, we were at his house, and he sat me down. He said, I need to talk to you, Keenia. And I was like, okay. And he was like, I think that I want to take you off the market. And I was like, what?
And your brother saw that then. See, that's why you need a good.
This was before he even said anything, before I had even like confessed that I kind of liked him a little bit. Like, I didn't tell anybody. And it was funny because everybody knew before I did. Because even my best friend, like, her and Alonzo were actually really good friends. And so when I told her I found him on Match, she was like, oh, when's the wedding? And I was like, girl, it ain't even like that. Like, we just hanging out. We just friends. It's not like that. And and so, like, so everybody knew before me. And so once I started, once the bowling incident happened, and then everything just started falling into place, like, on that he finally, started talking about, he did have feelings, and he started being more honest with me. And so, you know, the rest is history, and everything happens really fast after that. So like within
And
a
so
year.
your weight, your size, kind of like Nevada said,
Yeah.
it was a non-issue.
No, it didn't matter. And as a matter of fact, I mean, for him, you know, Alonso's not like, I mean, he's a slim guy, but he goes up and down with his weight too. So, you know, I think we're kind of like at a similar space as far as like, you know, our weight. But like the difference is he's very comfortable with himself. Like he has a very unique personality where he does not care what anybody thinks about him. So like, including me, if I tell him like, babe, look at your stomach, put it away. And he's just like, oh, you like that? You know, like he's not ashamed. Like you can't shame him you can't shame him at all. So, and that was one of the things that I really loved about him. And I even remember me and him, like we had our first like mini argument because he wanted me to start making more comfort food. Because all I used to make was like, you know, red potatoes and chicken with no gravy. And he would just like he ate it for like a good 6 months before he said anything. And that's when I had to share with him. I'm like, look, you know, you may not notice about me, but you know, I've had to struggle with my weight loss for a really long time. And I'd appreciate it if you would support me, you know, and I, you know, had the little talk with him. And he understood that. He got that. And I know we talked about this on the last live, but just for those who didn't hear this part of the story, like he got that immediately. Like I didn't have to you know, trying to make him understand that, you know, where I am in my fitness journey and how he needs to respect that. Like he didn't beat it. He only asked me to make him comfort food for Father's Day and holidays. And that's it. And it's a non-issue.
Wow. As it should be.
Yeah.
That is a wonderful way to end on this because it just reminds me, and this is for anybody, man or woman, no matter what state we're in, that, and Nevada, you said it best earlier, that when someone wants to be with you, that is a non-issue. And I think that we all need to be mature in our thinking like that as it relates to, you know, how Lonzo was on that, like, I want you. I want to be with you. And we have to ask ourselves that, like, yeah, it's one thing to have preferences, you know, but at the end of the day, especially in the times that we're living in, I really think it would be so foolish, the complete opposite of wisdom, to get caught up or lose out on somebody who's amazing.
Yes.
And with your amazing self because of the size of their body, the height of their body, that kind of stuff that they can't control. So,
it's completely shallow.
It's completely shallow.
Yeah, if you take looks out of the equation and you just think about, you know, those non-superficial traits, you know, that's what you have to look for when you're looking for somebody to settle down with, or just because everybody doesn't want to get married, but just even having a life partner or a companion. You don't necessarily need to, like, because looks fade. Like once we get 80 years old, we're not gonna look the way we looked in our 30s and 20s. So you just gotta let all that superficial stuff go.
Right. And especially in the, as one of my friends call it, whatever episode of Jumanji that we're in right now, like who is gonna run out there right? Who's gonna run out there during the zombie apocalypse for you and hit up one of the Walgreens and bring some stuff back to the bunker? That is what it's going to be about.
That's hubby right there.
See? Well, Keenia, I appreciate you being here. Thank you. I want to say, I just wanted to start calling out names, but because so many of you were participating tonight, thank you, Carl, Carolyn, Mackenzie, Nevada, Nemo. There were other ones too. Melody. Thank you guys for sharing and furthering this conversation. Really appreciate it. This was so refreshing. I think we just needed something to laugh about and reminisce on and just think the best and look forward to the best. So much appreciated.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Again.
Yes, and hopefully it even won't be the last time after
Oh,
this.
I'm sure. I'm happy to do this again. This is fun. Corey, my cousin Corey's on here too. And
Okay.
his mom, Shanita. I have a
Carolyn
whole
says,
family on
great
here.
job, Thor.
Jamela.
My friend Carolyn is an
Oh,
AKA. She
Jamela,
said, great job, Thor.
I can't see where my voice goes.
See, no, we're not doing
Oh, now
that
you're going to
at
kick
the
me
end.
off.
Yeah, we got 3 minutes. Melody, show up, pull up. All right.